Yo, what's up guys, Gray here, and today we have got our Week 8 battle of the BBR. We're going up against Vepsis and his Helsinki Hydreigons in what should really be one of the toughest matches we play this season, because Vepsis is an incredibly good coach. I know he's won multiple championships, he's made playoffs in like every league that he's ever been in. I've seen like in UBL he had some insane records, like plus 30 differential seasons. So yeah, we're definitely going to have our work cut out for us as as the Switch decides to die. If you can tell what the cries are, you might be able to tell what we're bringing this week for at least one of our Pokemon. The other one was last week's, so yeah, he's got a terrifying team as well. But if you don't know who my opponent is, then make sure to go and check out his channel. His link will be down in the description below, as well as all the other coaches for the BBR. And if you're enjoying the content, then remember to like and subscribe, because the support is greatly appreciated. But with that out of the way, let's get straight into the team builder. So his team is Mew, Weavile, Nidoking, Rotom Heat, Noivern, Registeel, Mantine, Wigglytuff, Exeggutor, Magnemite, and Trapinch. Much like last week, his team is relatively top heavy. I wouldn't say it was as much as last week's game, but still he has like Magnemite and Trapinch, which are really just kind of like niche brings to bring maybe like 1 week for the season. Magnemite especially, it has no matchup against me, so just pretend it doesn't exist. But yeah, the rest of the team is super scary. I think there's a good chance that almost everything else can come. But on paper, I would say he does have a bit of a tough time breaking through quite a few of my mons. So the matchup is probably a little bit in our favour. But at the same time, with Vepsis in charge, like there is no favourable matchup, because he will find a way to win. And yeah, we got to really bring our A game to be able to win this one. So first up on his team, he's got Mew, and Mew is one of those mons that you see it banned in quite a few leagues because it's just able to do anything, and it can be like a really good defensive mon. It can set up on the defensive side with Cosmic Power. It can set up on the offensive side with like Rock Polish Weakness Policy. It can Nasty Plot. It can Swords Dance. It can Dragon Dance. There's so many things that it can do. It can Calm Mind as well, which can be really troublesome for us. But yeah, it's just super scary to go up against. I think we have a beneficial matchup against it in the sense that it kind of needs to run 3 moves to be able to break through our team. I think that really good coverage, and this is foreshadowing another Pokemon on this team, I think really good coverage is Poison, Ground, and Ice. And I think we'll be surprised to see like those 3 typings come in whichever form, whether it be physical with Earthquake, Triple Axle, Gunk Shot, or special with Ice Beam, Earth Power, and Sludge Wave or Sludge Bomb. I definitely expect that to turn up. I expect a defensive set or a mixed bulk set just to be able to deal with things like my entire team, basically. The only things that are super effective against it, Decidueye and Pangoro, and I guess Pinsir as well at the bottom, but Pinsir doesn't have the greatest matchup in this one. But yeah, Pinsir hits it pretty effectively with the X-Scissor. But we do have to watch out for a potential weakness policy set. It could be Colbur to try and deal with the Pangoro. There's a strong chance that maybe he brings like Dazzling Gleam instead of Ice Beam, just to be able to hit the Pangoro and the Zygarde. Won't hit his Zygarde quite so much, but it does hit the Pangoro for good damage. There's also a chance that I guess he runs Play Rough over Triple Axe on the physical side as well. So again, we're just going to have to scout out what kind of set he is, try and get some information early on. If it's a more defensive set, then it's going to be annoying for us to break through, but it's much better than a offensive sweeping kind of set, because that can be really difficult for us to actually be able to deal with. So yeah, Mew, it's just going to be a matter of scout the set early and try and gauge what kind of damage we're doing and what set it's going to be. Weavile, I think, is 100% going to be Life Orb, and he has a really difficult situation in which he needs like 4 moves to be able to hit my entire team, meaning that he either has to run priority of his Ice type move or he has to run a powerful Ice type move. And I think he's probably going to go like Triple Axle or Icicle Crash over the Ice Shard in this game, because he needs Knock Off to be able to hit things like Disloking. Does good damage to Heatran. It does damage to things like Decidueye. Like Knock Off is just very good against my team. Losing my items is really, really bad. So yeah, Knock Off is great here, but he has to have Low Kick to be able to hit Heatran super effectively, otherwise he does kind of get walled by it a little bit. And he does need Poison Jab because he completely gets walled by Tapu Fini. So I think we're going to see like triple axel, low kick, knockoff, and poison jab. I save a life orb, could be boots, it depends on how much he fears the hazards. Could also be protective pads if he decides that he doesn't want to take any Rocky Helmet damage, doesn't want to take a potential flame body from Heatran. We'll have to see with that. I definitely expect a life orb, but unless he's choice banded, he can't actually 2-hit KO my Tapu Fini poison jab, so that's always nice, and we can kind of prepare around that. Nidoking is probably the biggest threat on his team. I gotta set like the timer on this switch to be slightly less before it goes into like screensaver mode. Yeah, Nidoking is the biggest threat on his team because, like I said, poison, ground, and ice just run through our entire team. There's very few things that we can do to check that. And he has one of the most powerful ground poison types, if not the most powerful ground poison, because I don't think there's too many, in Nidoking. It really just OHKOs like all of our team. We have very few things to be able to actually check it. So yeah, if Nidoking comes in, it could be a massive, massive threat to our team. I definitely expect a Life Orb, but Choice Scarf would also be an option. Depends on whether or not he wants to be able to outspeed my entire team naturally, or whether he wants to just go for all-out power. Because Choice Scarf does miss out on quite a few KOs, but it does also just mean like once he gets a bit of chip on things, Nidoking can just run through my team. So yeah, Nidoking is just going to be a scout for whether it's Choice Scarf or Life Orb. The last move slot really is just like down to preference. It could be Stealth Rock if he doesn't bring Registeel. It could be Toxic Spikes, and it could also be like Superpower or Focus Blast, because he may want something to be able to hit the Pangoro super effectively. Because especially if I'm Assault Vest, I'm able to take a hit just fine from that Nidoking and knock it out in return with like an Earthquake or a Knockoff. With a little bit of damage, Knockoff will kill. So yeah, he's definitely got to worry about that. Rotom Heat, I think, has a decent matchup. I don't think it's his best matchup, but at the same time, I could probably see like a Rest Talk set coming if he was going to bring anything, because I know he does enjoy his Rest Talk Rotom. The combination of fire and electric coverage is actually pretty decent. It doesn't hit the Zygarde at all, which is like the big downside, I think, for him. Especially if he brings Rest Talk, he doesn't have Will-O-Wisp, so he will have basically nothing to hit the Zygarde. He has to really decide on whether or not he wants to run Recovery or not. The other set he could run is like Will-O-Wisp with Pain Split. That's probably his best set actually against me, because it can hit the Zygarde and it can hit various other things that check it, like Heatran and Galarian Slowking. Really don't take much damage at all from Rotom Heat. So Rotom probably not got his best matchup, but at the same time, I could definitely see it turning up just to be a bit of annoyance. Probably like a secondary special defensive check, things like Heatran and the Slowking. Albeit, like I said, they can't do too much damage. Noivern, I think, has not got a great matchup against me. It's checked by Heatran, it's checked by Fini and the Galarian Slowking. Doesn't really do too much to Rotom Fan as well. I'm especially defensive. Same with Greedent, doesn't do a massive amount there. But it is good against things like Pangoro, Pinsir, Decidueye, and Zygarde, because it can just hit them all for super effective damage with its stabs. Flamethrower honestly doesn't have much use in this matchup, so he could run like a Taunt set with Roost maybe. He could be Choice Scarf and just run like Super Fang, I guess. But we're going to have to see. Noivern I don't think is going to turn up, but if it does, then we have to just scout the moveset. Registeel, again, I don't think this turns up, just because it does have a tough time being able to firstly take hits from Zygarde and Heatran, Pangoro as well. Doesn't really appreciate close combat from Lycanroc, Flamethrower from Galarian Slowking, whilst not really being able to do too much in return. Tapu Fini, it does struggle to break through that as well. And like one Scald Burn or whatever is just like, it's slowly going to get whittled down. Unless he runs like a Rest Talk set, but then that becomes like setup fodder effectively for Zygarde. He has to run like Ice move, Ground move, or Fighting move to be able to hit majority of my team, but it doesn't hit all of my team. So yeah, Registeel I think probably sits on the bench this week. Mantine, 100% this thing's coming, because it's his best way of dealing with both Heatran and Tapu Fini, or at least like switching into this mon, because he just doesn't have the greatest switch-ins. He has one other thing that I definitely think has a chance of showing up because of its ability to switch into Tapu Fini, but Mantine is great for switching into Heatran. It can switch into, to an extent, it can switch into my Pangoro as well. I'm spending fully Fizz Death. It switches into Zygarde on top of that because Zygarde really doesn't have anything to hit it super effectively, so effectively it's able to keep coming in and just roosting. It does kind of scare me out with Ice Beam as well, so Mantine is going to be a bit of a problem, but at the same time I feel like we still have the necessary things to be able to beat it. Like Lycanroc is very good against it, we have Rotom Fan that is also very strong. I guess it also checks the Pinsir and the Marwile and the Greedent as well on the side, just because it's able to, like, Pinsir can have Stone Edge, Marwile can have Stone Edge, Greedent can have, I think, Thunderfang. I want to say it gets Thunderfang. It's able to have those moves to be able to hit the Mantine, but still, Mantine, if it's fully Fizz Death, is able to take those hits just fine. Wigglytuff, I think, probably sits on the bench this week, but it could show up, you never know. It's very weak to Heatran, can't do too much to hit it. Doesn't really hit Galarian Slowking, doesn't really hit Tapu Fini. To an extent, doesn't even hit Decidueye for much damage either. So that's why I'm not so sure it turns up, but at the same time it could be a physically defensive check against a Zygarde if he doesn't want to bring Mantine for some reason. So yeah, there's a chance that Wigglytuff turns up. I don't think it's going to. Exeggutor actually has a surprisingly good chance to turn up, which is just fantastic. Like, you know how I feel about Exeggutor. It's probably going to turn up against me just because it's his best switch into Tapu Fini, and unless I'm running like a Calm Mind set with Ice Beam or something along those lines, it's able to actually deal with me pretty effectively, and can be really, really annoying because I had to keep switching between basically that and maybe the Galarian Slowking, maybe Heatran would be my switch into it. And it does have ways, especially on the physical side, it has ways to actually do super effective damage to both of those with Stomping Tantrum. So we do have to watch out for that. If it's special, then it's probably going to be like a Giga Drain, Leech Seed, maybe Psychic and Teleport kind of set. Maybe run Synthesis over Leech Seed or over Psychic. But I think he probably wants to run something to hit Decidueye. I'm not entirely sure. I think Psychic is probably better just because it does hit the Decidueye should I bring it. But yeah, Exeggutor could be really annoying in this game, especially if it kind of gets into a position where it's able to keep getting its harvest back and keep getting back up to like 50-60%. It's really difficult for us to actually kind of break through. So yeah, Exeggutor could be annoying. Magnemite has no matchup in this game whatsoever. Zygarde beats it, Heatran beats it, Tapu Fini, it could do some damage to Tapu Fini. Galarian Slowking beats it, Decidueye probably beats it, Lycanroc beats it, Pangoro beats it. You get the gist. Magnemite, terrible in this matchup. What is not terrible in his matchup, and it's actually one of the scariest things that I think is on this team, is the Trapinch. Because Trapinch is able to trap things like my Heatran, my Galarian Slowking, my Lycanroc, my Marwile, and is able to basically OHKO all of them. So we've got to be really, really careful around this Trapinch, because if we get trapped, then we've got to make sure that it's something that doesn't necessarily matter too much for the rest of the game. If it is going to go down, or we just have to make sure that we're playing around so we don't get trapped at all. Because yeah, this thing is actually going to be able to take quite a few lives if we don't play around it properly, and we have actually prepped to make sure that we don't lose too many mons to it, because it is a big problem for our team, and we've got to be very careful around it. So yeah, that's his team. The 6 that I expect: Mew, Weavile, Nidoking, Mantine, probably either Exeggutor or Registeel, and then I would actually expect the Trapinch. If it's not the Trapinch, I think it's going to be the Rotom Heat. So yeah, that's the 6 that I think he's going to be bringing. And the 6 that we're going to be bringing, first up, we've got our Pangoro with the Choice Band, because Choice Banded Pangoro just does stupid amounts of damage against his team. With an Adamant Nature, we are fairly bulky if I remember rightly. I just couldn't get my team builder up on Showdown so I can remember. Yeah, we're fairly bulky with enough speed to outspeed uninvested Mantine. Uninvested Mantine. So we can actually hit it with a Rock Slide, and Rock Slide does a ton of damage, even if it's physically defensive. We still do a ton of damage to it. And Knock Off as well will do over half to physically defensive Mantine. It's very good against just all of his team. Like, knocking off his entire team is really, really good. The only thing that wants to switch into that necessarily, or can switch into that, is the Wigglytuff. And I don't know if the Wigglytuff is wanting to come this week. Registeel would also be able to take it, but doesn't want to take close combat. So switching into that hard would be a questionable decision. And then Weavile was his other dark type, and I think it still takes like 70% from banded knockoff, so I don't think it's a switch in by any means. Bullet Punch is pretty much just there for things like the Weavile. If Mew gets set up with a Rock Polish weakness policy and we're able to weaken it enough, then Bullet Punch will be able to pick it off. Same with a Choice Scarf Nidoking, if we're able to damage it enough, then Bullet Punch will be able to do about 30 to 40% from memory. And we are Iron Fist, so we're able to hit even harder with that Bullet Punch. And yeah, outside of that, it's just nice coverage to have for things like the Wigglytuff. And really, there's nothing else that should outspeed me outside of the Noivern. And the Rotom, it doesn't hit at all, but we have the Rock Slide for that. We have the Rock Slide for the Noivern as well, but at the same time, I don't think Noivern's turning up, so it could be a non-factor. But effectively, it's just kind of blow through his entire team. Close Combat is really only there for the Registeel, looking at it. Maybe the Weavile as well, you could say, but at the same time, Bullet Punch after around like Life Orb damage, I think it's like maybe 2 lots of Life Orb damage, is actually able to knock it out. So yeah, really strong this week, Pangoro. He doesn't have a whole lot of things to switch into it. Unfortunately, it is outsped by quite a lot of his team. All of his offense outspeeds me, is probably able to knock me out. So gotta be wary of that, but at the same time, Pangoro, if we get it in on a free switch, could probably do a lot of damage just being able to click knockoff. Next up, we have got our Greedent with the Moringa Berry. We're bringing some, you can say some heat with this Greedent this week. The Moringa Berry, for those who don't know, gives you a special defense boost if hit by a special attack. However, in testing, it turns out that Sheer Force doesn't pop your Moringa Berry, which really sucks, because the main thing this is here for with the special defense, is it careful nature? The main thing it's here for is a Nidoking. With the Cheek Pouch and the Moringa Berry, we were able to take that hit from the Nidoking. Even Life Orb Modest, we were able to take pretty well. And then we could get the special defense boost, and we weren't even 3-hit KO'd by Nidoking in any way unless it was running Superpower. So, yeah, unfortunately, that tech isn't going to work against the Nidoking, but it can still work against things like the Mew, the Noivern should it turn up. We can get a special defense raise against things like Mantine, a special Exeggutor, Rotom Heat as well. So it's quite a few special attackers on his team that we could possibly pop that Moringa Berry against. So yeah, there's still a chance for the tech to come off, but it may not be as high as it was before, and maybe I should just run Citrus to be able to hit this, take the hits better. But it is what it is. We've gone with the Moringa Berry just on the off chance that we're able to like use that and be able to check something like Mew potentially. Super Fang, Body Slam, Rest, and Sleep Talk. Yeah, we've got Rest Talk because we're able to not really be too KO'd by too many things on his team. So being able to Rest and Sleep Talk, just keep ourselves as healthy as possible, is really nice in this game, because Greedent actually does a really good job of checking a lot of his threats. Super Fang is great for hitting things like the Registeel, like the Rotom Heat, and the Nidoking for 50%. Super Fang into Body Slam should knock out things like the Weavile. It'll do a good amount to Nidoking. I don't think it quite knocks it out. I think Trapinch should be knocked out by Super Fang into Body Slam. In fact, 2 Body Slams should probably knock out Trapinch. I don't know the calc exactly, but I would have thought that would do enough damage. But yeah, effectively, he doesn't have Ghost type, so normal type moves are very free. And Registeel doesn't appreciate the Super Fang unless it's Rest Talk itself. We can chip it down quite effectively with our Greedent here, and we'll be able to hopefully put it in range of other things just to come in and be able to knock it out, because Registeel could be a little bit annoying in this game, and I wouldn't mind trading my Greedent for Registeel too much. I wouldn't mind trading my Greedent for anything on his team, really, depending on what he brings. Like, I wouldn't really mind trading Greedent for like his Trapinch, for example. So yeah, Greedent is here really just to be annoying, to be bulky, and to hopefully stick around for a long time. Next up, we have got our Tapu Fini with the Rocky Helmet and the Telepathy ability with a very defensive build, very physically defensive, with Scald, Toxic, Rest, and Sleep Talk. We are running Telepathy so we can get the rest with this and the Greedent. It's a little bit risky in case he runs like Toxic on something, just to be or Will-O-Wisp even on Rotom Heat to be able to hit the Zygarde, in hopes that we don't print terrain or we this rains down and you can just hit the Will-O-Wisp on the Zygarde. It's a little bit risky, but at the same time, I'm quite happy to switch into like my Tapu Fini on the Rotom to be able to take the Will-O-Wisp. I could switch into my Greedent to take the Will-O-Wisp and just rest it off without much issue. He really struggles to be able to 2-hit KO this. Like I said, a Life Orb Weavile doesn't 2-hit KO with Poison Jab, so we're able to effectively just rest talk and it will never be able to beat us unless it's Swords Dance. And like I said earlier, he doesn't, like, he wants all the coverage, so I don't think Swords Dance is even an option for him. So we should be able to effectively 1v1 his Weavile with this set, even if it goes down to just Life Orb. We can Sleep Talk and we can Scold and hopefully get the burn on it. But outside of that, it's able to deal with things like Mew fairly well. We can Toxic it, and with the Synchronize we don't care too much because we're able to rest. It's able to Toxic Mantine, which is really nice. We'll be able to do that regardless of the terrain or not, because obviously Mantine is flying, so able to Toxic it no matter what. Same with the Rotom Heat, same with the Noivern, but again, I think those two are less likely to turn up. Nidoking is a big problem. Obviously, it's going to be doing a ton of damage to us. In fact, I think it may even Oko if it's modest Life Orb sheer. Obviously, it's going to be Sheer Force with Sludge Wave. I think there's a chance that it just Okos us, but we can play around that. We do have our special defensive checks to be able to try and deal with that. Scold is also going to be doing a good amount of damage to it should he not be able to knock us out. But realistically, we don't want to stay in. Toxic is amazing for the Exeggutor because it does mean that it can't stay in against us. It does need to keep switching out. It can get its Harvest back each time, but at the same time, it's with the Toxic, it's slowly getting whittled down, and hopefully we'll be able to not 1v1 it, because I don't think we'll ever be able to 1v1 the Exeggutor. It's just doing too much damage. But at the same time, we can Toxic it. We can potentially just kind of stall it a little bit, and we do have our switch-ins to Exeggutor that we can effectively keep racking up that toxic damage should he decide to stay in. So yeah, Tapu Fini just looks really nice for being super annoying in this game. The Rocky Helmet is obviously amazing for potential physical Mew, for Weavile. I guess even for a physical Nidoking, it could be really nice. And yeah, it also just beats Trapinch 1v1 because, you know, it's a Trapinch. It doesn't take on a Tapu Fini well at all. Next up, we've got our Zygarde with the Yachi Berry. With an Adamant Nature, Thousand Arrows, Skitter Smack, Dragon Dance, and Sandstorm. So this is an interesting set. I'm sure you're probably looking at this like, why you've got Sandstorm. There is a reason for it, and we'll come to that later. For those who know my team, probably know what I'm bringing that for, but Thousand Arrows hits his entire team for neutral damage outside of the Exeggutor, and I think that's it actually. Yeah, it hits it for at least neutral damage on everything except for the Exeggutor, which is ×4 weak to the Skitter Smack, so we can always click that against it. Skitter Smack is also really nice against Mew. It should run like a special set. If he doesn't run Ice Beam, he runs Dazzling Gleam instead to hit the Pangoro and the Zygarde, then Dazzling Gleam is not 3-hit KOing us, I'm pretty sure, from uninvested after a Skitter Smack because of the special attack drop. And we're able to Dragon Dance pretty freely on that, and once we get to +2, even if it's defensive, we should be able to 2-hit KO it. Sandstorm is just there for my next Pokemon. It's also really nice for some residual damage against things like his Mew, against his Weavile, Exeggutor as well. Just giving it a little bit of chip that we could really do. With, and we do have things that don't necessarily care too much about the chip because we've got Rest Talk on 2 Mons. Zygarde obviously doesn't care too much because it's ground type. And my next one, which is the Lycanroc, obviously doesn't mind taking that Sandstorm and being able to run with it, because Life Orb with Sand Rush is able to do so much against his team. Lycanroc is really, really strong. I've got an Adamant Nature because I am running the Sand Rush potential. I felt like just running Adamant picks up more 2-hit KOs or Okos than the Jolly Nature does. We really struggle to break things like Mew if we're not Adamant, so we kind of had to run it. Stone Edge, Accel Rock, Drill Run, and Swords Dance. If we ever get a chance to set up a Swords Dance when the sand is up, there is nothing on his team that really takes us on at all. The combination of Stone Edge and Drill Run hits all of his team, literally all of his team, for very, very good damage. Especially with the Life Orb, he doesn't have great switch-ins at all. Stone Edge does a lot of damage to even defensive Mew. It will be able to 2-hit KO it. We do live an Earthquake, guaranteed from uninvested Mew. Same with Earth Power, we take 1. We especially take Earth Power if we're in the sand. We're able to take that just fine. We can even take a fully invested Earth Power if he isn't set up, and are able to click Stone Edge, and if it's physically defensive, we do it KO. If it's just an offensive mon, then we're able to do like a really, really good amount of damage and able to pick it off with a Cell Rock afterwards. So we do have to scout out a little bit of what a set is, but we should be able to take down the Mew if put in the right position with Lycan Rock. Outside of that, a Cell Rock's doing like 80-90% to Weavile. Drill Run will knock out Nidoking. Stone Edge knocks out Rotom, it knocks out Noivern. It will knock out Mantine. Drill Run is 2-hit KOing Registeel. Stone Edge will probably 2-hit KO with defensive Wigglytuff, same with Exeggutor. Drill Run kills Magnemite, and then Trapinch honestly is like the one thing that we don't actually OHKO. But hopefully we can get rid of Trapinch earlier in the game if it does turn up. So yeah, Lycan Rock looking really, really nice in this game. And last up we have got our Galarian Slowking with the Assault Vest. This is probably the most expendable mon on our team. I kind of looking at it and I was like, I don't want to bring everything that I would probably bring in like against him normally, because there's a good chance that Vepsis makes it to playoffs. And if he makes it to playoffs and we make it to playoffs, I don't want to reveal everything in my hand. Like I had a couple of other sets that I was tempted to bring. And I really felt like I didn't want to bring everything that I wanted to bring for a potential playoff game. So yeah, we've got the Slowking, which still plays a pretty good role in this game should we be able to keep it around. With the specially defensive nature, the Calm Nature and Regenerator with the Assault Vest. We're actually not 2-hit KO'd by Timid, Life Orb, Nidoking. Earth Power, from memory, I'm pretty sure that's a thing. And we're able to OHKO in return with Psychic. Scald, Flamethrower, and Shadow Ball was just like the nicest coverage I could find against his team. Shadow Ball is good for the Mew, good for the Exeggutor. Flamethrower is also good for the Exeggutor, as well as being really nice for the Registeel and the Weavile. Scald is great for the Nidoking and the Rotom Heat, as well as the Trapinch. And then Psychic is just good against things like the Nidoking, it's good against Rotom, Noivern, everything that's basically taken neutral damage from it. So yeah, it's not the greatest mon in this game, but at the same time it does have a role to play. It's a great special defensive pivot for things like Noivern, Rotom Heat, Mantine, to an extent Nidoking, but I don't think we want to necessarily switch this in unless we know that he's not going to go for an Earth Power, so pretty much never, because we are bringing Rotom. So there's not really many chances for him to not click Earth Power, but at the same time we can take that hit just fine, and we can pivot should we need to. And yeah, basically this is just Slowking's role in this game. It's just to be a bit special defensive. It does actually switch into the Exeggutor really well as well. So like Tapu Fini, Galarian Slowking is really nice just to be able to pivot around quite a few of his threats. Greedent gives us that switch into Nidoking as well. So yeah, that's going to be the team for this game. It should be a really good battle because Vepsis is, like I said, a really, really good coach, very good at prepping. I know he does watch people's videos before playing a game, so he probably knows quite a few of the sets that I've been running. So I have run something very different this week, just to kind of catch him off guard a little bit. And I know he uses Rest Talk a lot, so this wasn't intended when I was initially looking at a matchup, but Rest Talk works really well against his team for my team. So we just so happen to be running something that he's run for the last couple of weeks in BBR against him. So yeah, that's kind of funny. I did get a little bit of a chuckle out of that. And yeah, I will see you guys in the battle in a minute. Hopefully it's a good one. Yeah, I'll see you guys there. Okay, so here we are for the battle against Vepsis. If you did miss the team builder or you skipped through it, we are facing Vepsis and his Helsinki Hydreigons. Honestly, one of the scariest coaches to go up against in Draft League nowadays. We're just going to press A, we're going to get straight to it, but make sure to go and follow my opponent, see what he does in this game. He does bring the Trapinch, he brings the Exeggutor, doesn't bring the Registeel, so it also doesn't bring something else I was expecting. Rotom Heat he doesn't bring. That's really interesting. His Exeggutor is definitely a bit of a problem. It's definitely going to be a bit annoying to deal with. The Trapinch is the Trapinch. That is, I did think it was going to turn up, but I think it's probably going to be Eviolite, and it will actually be able to one-shot our Galarian Slowking potentially. So we've got to be careful for that. Outside of that, we kind of deal with it just okay. What do I want to lead off with here? I mean, honestly, like banded knockoff would be nice. Do I want to lead off with that? The banded knockoff would definitely be nice. Do I just want to lead off with my Green? Green is pretty safe against a lot of his things. Like, pretty much his entire team is pretty safe against. The only thing it's not is against Weavile, so do I want to lead? I could lead off with my... I could also lead off Tapu Fini. I think I'm going to lead off with Greedent. Hopefully we get this just in time. Yeah, we do. That's all good. We just barely managed to beat the timer on that one. Jeez. I'm not sure if Greedent's the greatest lead, but it's the one we're going to go with. Good luck, have fun to my opponent. And yeah, hopefully this is a good game. We aren't bringing necessarily the most serious... we are bringing serious sets. But we're bringing some sets that we could consider unorthodox. He leads off with the Mew. That's kind of okay for me. We get to scout a little bit here. I could just go for a Super Fang and see how he wants to deal with this. We also get to kind of scout out what kind of moves he's got. He could just be like a lead spiker. It's entirely possible. Potentially just going to see the Stealth Rocks here. There should be no one move that is able to knock me out with. He's actually going to withdraw. And it goes into Kia the Mantine. Okay. Good to know. We do hit the Super Fang. Cool. For a second I thought we missed just because it was sort of a weird animation. And I kind of just want to go into my Tapu Fini. He could go for a Scold here. It's entirely possible. So I'm going to go into Tapu Fini. He will see now that I don't have the Misty Train. That's fine. He may just want to go for a Roost to make sure he's got enough health. But I expect maybe the Scold, yeah. And honestly, if we get burned, that's not the worst. It's actually probably better. No burn. And we're fairly free to just throw off a Toxic here, yeah. So I'm just going to Toxic. If the Exeggutor comes in, then it gets Toxic, and we'll see whether or not it's Lum. It is going to be the Exeggutor. It's a fantastic nickname. So we do hit the Toxic. And we're going to see whether or not it's Lum. It would be a bit of a weird bring, but okay, it's not Lum. And honestly, we can kind of just go out into Green on this. We don't really fear it too much. He could also just Leech Seed. I think middle ground is just going into my Slowking. It's just going Slowking. If he wants to predict this and go into Trapinch, then that's a fantastic read, but I think for now it's just what I want to do. He goes for Teleport. The Trapinch probably going to come in now. Honestly, this Slowking is not necessarily the most necessary mon on my team. So we'll just quickly grab Trapinch. I'm assuming it's Trapinch? Yeah. If he's just quick, if he's speedy, then he is going to knock me out. I'm going to go for the Scold. He is going to be quicker. This probably just takes me out. Yep, that's unfortunate. So we do lose our Galarian Slowking, but it is what it is. I knew Trapinch was going to be annoying in this game. Unfortunately, we had to do it straight away. What's Pangori doing to this? Close combat will hurt. I don't think it's going to have that much defense. So knockoff, I think, should just be able to knock this out. And it will knock out the Mantine should you bring that in. Certainly not out of this game. Like I said, Slowking wasn't the most necessary mon on my team. So yeah, I'm just going to click knockoff. He could be Focus Sash as well, that's entirely possible. But he doesn't really appreciate switching into a knockoff at all. He's going to withdraw, so he obviously wants to keep that around for my Lycanroc, I would assume, later. And this should knock it out. I guess max defense, it should still drop. As it does, so we're able to trade. I don't really feel like it's the greatest trade for me, but at the same time, it's not the worst. Because Galarian Slowking, honestly, it dealt with a few things, but not a lot on his team. Especially because he didn't bring Night Rotom. Assuming this is going to have Dazzling Gleam. So I'm just going to go hard out into my Greedent. We get to see what this is going to throw off. His first switch into Greedent was the Mantine, so I don't think this is necessarily defensive. But we aren't really want to take in a Dazzling Gleam here, so let's grab Greedent. You play rough. Okay, so it's physical. And that does very little. Very little indeed. Play rough. 15%, we went down to 182, so that's probably around that area. It's 15%, yeah, it's looking like it's just no attack investment, play rough. And honestly, I just want to throw off another Super Fang. He's going to switch and go into the Exeggutor, interesting. So Exeggutor is going to take the Super Fang and the toxic damage, which, okay, is citrus. That makes sense. So you can obviously keep harvesting, but it's going to be a little bit annoying. Certainly going to be a little bit annoying. I kind of just want to throw off a Body Slam. I could also just Super Fang and see if he gets the harvest, but I'm just going to Body Slam. If he wants to switch out into something, it gets paralyzed. He's going to see that we've got Body Slam, which honestly is kind of fine. I'm not too worried about that. But it didn't harvest its berry, so it is going to be pretty severely weakened unless it harvests it at the end of the turn, which is also, again, very possible. We could also go for a Leech Seed here. But I think he wants to keep his Exeggutor around. Yeah, he's going to switch back into the Mew. We actually don't want a Paralysis here, I would say. It'd be very unfortunate if we get Paralysis. Okay, we don't. Cool. So I'm just going to Super Fang again. If he has knockoff, it's really not the end of the world. He goes to Earthquake. Again, this shouldn't be doing too much. Now we can just Super Fang. We're eventually going to see whether or not this thing has some form of recovery. So I'm just going to Super Fang one more time. As it does have Roost. Okay. So I think my play is just to go out into Tapu Fini. Would be Tapu Fini and Toxic, or Tapu Fini back into this? Actually, I think I'm just going to Body Slam. He can keep roosting. If I get the Paralysis on this, then that's amazing, because it does mean that we have the chance to be able to break through it. But it also prevents us from just being PP stalled by it. So we don't get the Paralysis, unfortunately. Do I just want to go into my... I could go into my Tapu Fini, but I think that's just kind of unnecessary. I can also just rest here. Rest is a fine play, I think. Because if he wants to try and attack me here, then he can attack me, but... effectively, this means that it shows him that he can't 1v1 me. So he does make a switch. It's a good switch on his part. Goes out into this. If I had Body Slammed on that turn, probably would have been ideal. You know this thing's going to outspeed me. Trapinch. Probably doing a good amount with Earthquake. Yeah, it's doing a good amount. We're going to Sleep Talk. Hopefully this is not a 2-hit KO. Okay, it's not. That's good. So you're going to go for the Sleep Talk here. And hopefully we get Body Slam or Super Fang. Don't get the rest. Get Super Fang. So we're going to be able to do 50. We don't win this exchange unless we get a Body Slam and a Para, which is super, super unfortunate. This Trapinch is a big problem. I didn't prep adequately for it. And it's kind of coming back to haunt me now. Can we get a Body Slam? Would love a Body Slam right now. Okay, can we get a Para? I've used it twice. Never mind, it just kills. Whew. That was far too scary. I just got lucky on that. I really did just get lucky. He's obviously running no investment.
Yeah, that was a roll to kill, but still a roll in my favour. If he's just no attack investment. Goes out into this, which is a bit of a problem. Because at this point, I do not take a hit particularly well. I do not take a hit well at all. I mean, I'm not living a hit. Can I recover on something? I can rest up on something else. What do I believe to be the least useful member on my team? Let's have a look. Feeney is obviously still absolutely needed. I would say Lycan Rock is probably the least necessary. I think you can probably just go for the Sludge Wave. You could also go for Earth Power. I think Earth Power is a more likely move he goes for here. But I honestly, I don't want to risk it. I'm just going to click Rest. On the off chance he goes for like Stealth Rock or something. He does go for Earth Power, so I'm glad I didn't go into my Lycan Rock. We aren't able to live that one, unfortunately, but Brilliant did put in a good amount of work at least. And now we can go out into... I think I want to go out into Zygarde. Like, we won't see an item there, but I could also go into Pangoro. Does Pangoro live one? Evo King. 50. We should be able to live any one hit and just throw off a knockoff. Like, he really does not appreciate switching into knockoff at all. And we get to see whether or not he has got like a fighting move. If he does have a fighting move, then obviously we're going to die here, but we get to scout for that. It does seem like he's special though. So if our Greedent had more health, we would have been in actually a fantastic place. But unfortunately, Greedent just went low enough that Earth Power was going to kill. And we do get to throw off a 3 knockoff here. And I don't think this Nidoking will be bulky. I think it's probably going to be a speedier one. We're going to find out, I guess. He goes for the Soothe Power. This probably knocks us out. We barely live, and this knockoff will knock out Nidoking. Well, that was close. If it was Focus Blast, I think we did actually just die there, but I do want to keep Pangoro around as well. He hasn't got rocks up, so keeping it around for Bullet Punch is extremely useful. As I expect probably the Mew to come in. And with that down, I think that Tapu Fini has a much easier job of dealing with the last 2 mons. Whatever they may be. But whatever set this Mew is, Mew comes back in. We saw Play Rough last time. I mean, I do want to keep this around. I'm just going to go out to my Tapu Fini. If he has Gunk Shot and makes the read here, then that's a very good read on his part. But also, like, he can just click whatever he wants effectively at that lower health. Here's for the EQ. You take a good amount of damage actually. And I think I want to double. I think I just want to double into my Zygarde. Get to see what his last move... If he has Gunk Shot, then he'll click it here. So we get to scout for the Gunk Shot as well as... Okay, so he does stay in. If he click Play Rough on this turn, that's an insane prediction. But we'll see whether or not he has Gunk Shot. Or Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch is also a possibility. Just clicks Earthquake again. Okay. We should not die to a Play Rough. We really shouldn't die to a Play Rough, but at the same time, I cannot type Mew. I think it's got like no attack investment. Play Rough. Yeah, we shouldn't take much at all from this. So do I want to just go for a Dragon Dance? No, +1. I just want to switch. I know this is a weird play, but I'm going to go back into my Tapu Fini. Because he'll take a bit of Rocky Helmet damage if he goes for Play Rough here. We'll also see whether he has Ice Punch or not. Triple Axle, even better. He takes 3 lots of Rocky Helmet. And honestly, I just want to go for a Toxic. Because I think he just wants to Roost here. I think I want a Toxic on his Roost, and then I can rest on the next turn. I think that works for me. Let's just go for the Roost. So we get to get this Toxic off, and that means that we should be able to beat this 1v1 later in the game. I say later in the game, we're already at like a pretty decent stage of the match, but it's proving to be a really tough one, as to expected really from Vepsis. We're running really bulky sets as well, so I think we just had to start playing a bit quicker. Like this turn, I'm definitely going for the rest. Actually, if he goes into Exeggutor, that's horrible for us. That's really not good. I could go into Zygarde. I could also go back into... You know what? I think it's fine. Do I just want to go into... he clicks Earthquake if he clicks any offensive move here, so... His Exeggutor is poisoned. I don't think he goes for Triple Axle or the Play Rough here. I'm going to go back into my Zygarde, and if he predicts this and goes for Triple Axle, it's a fantastic play, but I think he's going to go into Exeggutor here. And this means we can get a free Skitter Smack off, because nothing on his team should want to take that. Against Exeggutor. I have no idea what this set is on his Exeggutor, but it should not be able to take Skitter Smack unless it is fully Fizz Def. Yeah, shouldn't be able to take it unless he's fully Fizz Def. He's going to withdraw, I assume, back into the Mew. Yeah, it goes back into the Mew. So still do a good amount of damage. Certainly do a good amount of damage. That does nothing, jeez. That's a very, very defensive Mew. It's a very defensive Mew. I think he just wants to go for... I think he just goes for the Roost here. So I'm going to go into my Lycanroc. And I really just need to weaken this. Goes for the Roost. He definitely wants to get damage on this. Can I live one? Can I live one against this? I'm sure I can probably take an Earthquake. That's level 100. Like, why is that doing so much damage? Yeah, I'd definitely be able to take one. But do I want to take one is the question. I don't think I do. I think I want to go back into my Tapu Fini. Which I know seems like a weird play, but I really did not want to take that hit. And I'm going to rest on this turn. Because he can go back into Exeggutor if he wants to, but he needs to keep this thing as healthy as he can for Zygarde. Likewise, I need to keep this as healthy as I can for his Weavile. We do lose momentum here, but at the same time, like, it is what it is. Goes back into the Exeggutor to be expected. Do I just want to go out into my Zygarde on this? I still don't know what set this is at all. He's not shown anything as far as I'm aware. Like, other than him being Citrus. I could definitely go back into Zygarde on this. I don't really want to take that damage, but at the same time, I can't take that damage on Fini. I think I need both my forms of priority to be able to deal with Weavile. Actually, going into Pangoro was the play. Going Pangoro was the play. Because Ice Shard at this point is going to take me out. So he goes for a Wood Hammer. So he's a physical variant. That does a lot of damage. At no point has he harvested his berry. Interesting. Once again, I think I can go for Skitter Smack. I didn't see any downside to clicking it. He's just going to go straight back into the Mew. We're going to play this game. But Mew is really not appreciating this damage. It's taking a good amount. And I think on this turn, I just want to go into my Pangoro. Do I want to go Pangoro? I can always go into... I can always go into my Tapu Fini. I think Tapu Fini is always the play. He needs to always keep this thing healthy as well, which... like, that means that he's constantly going to just keep roosting. And, like, that's fine. But he is also toxic, so he's going to slowly lose that wall. I just need to make sure that I've got the pieces around to be able to, like, outstall it effectively. We also never saw an item on this. If we can get a Scold on the Exeggutor coming in, that would actually be ideal. Because I think, yeah, Scold probably won't take it out from here. Let's see if we can roll Scold. If we can roll Scold, then we get Rest. Unfortunate. This has Synthesis, then it's a little bit annoying, but I think I just go into my Pangoro now, as it gets a Citrus Berry back. I don't think it's going to have Synthesis, but... how much do I need Pangoro at all? I don't. At this point, it's outsped by everything. He can knock me out here. That's fine. Like, this endgame is still super, super tough because we've got to be able to weaken things to a point which he can't keep bringing his Mew in, but at the same time, getting it to that point is certainly not going to be easy. Let's take another round of poison. I mean, I really can't risk my Lycanroc. That's the biggest issue I've got. Lycanroc will be able to do a good amount of damage to a defensive Mew. I don't think it's going to be able to do enough to a defensive Mew, but it should be doing a good amount. It's doing a lot. But I think I just always go into my Zygarde. You always go Zygarde, and 1,000 Arrow is actually doing more to Mew. No, it doesn't. If I Dragon Dance at some point... do I do enough? What's my timer? 3 minutes, I got enough time. +1, still not doing enough damage. I'm going to skip to Smack again. I can just literally keep doing this. I don't believe at this point I necessarily need my Zygarde around, but at the same time I don't want to just throw it away for no reason. I could go... I don't want to keep going into Tapu Fini, but at the same time, I might just have to. Yeah, I think... You know what? I'm going to Skid Smack again. There's a chance we outspeed this. Is it going to do enough damage? It's not quite. But if he attacks me, then he doesn't live. He just roosts. He's going to get a good amount of health back. Next time, he won't be so free. He won't be so free to... Like, if he attacks me on this turn, like, I don't think Mew, unless he goes for triple axle here, I don't think he can kill me. So I'm going to go out into my Tapu Fini. If he goes for Roost, he goes for Roost. He is going to start losing health. If he goes for triple axle here, then he dies. Okay, I could have stayed in. I could have stayed in. He is losing quite a bit to Chip now. And he can Earthquake. Like, can I just win this game with what I've got left? Honestly, I don't think I can. I'm just going to go back out into my Zygarde. It's a ballsy play, I think, but he's going to switch. So this puts us again back in that optimal situation. This is definitely a battle of the minds. This is going to be a slow one. We have to just keep trying to make the right reads. That's all we can do at this point. He is going to harvest his berry, which is a little bit annoying. This is where I'm struggling to break through, just because he is able to keep harvesting. I kind of wish I was just Choice Band. Choice Band would have just broken through at this point. But do I want to Dragon Dance on this turn? Dragon Dance would accelerate the game up a little bit. You know what, I'm just going to click Get Smack. I've got to make moves fairly quickly. He's going to withdraw. See him back into the mute. I can Dragon Dance, but I don't think it gets me anything, so it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I do want to keep this thing as low as possible, but at the same time, I think I've got to give up a Mon effectively to be able to... I think I've got to kind of give this up to be able to beat this Mew. Lycanroc should be able to... Lycanroc should be able to take on the Exeggutor. He's just going to Roost. I kind of want to go Lycanroc on one of these turns. Like, part of me wants to go Lycanroc. Right, I'm going to do it on this turn. How much health is he at? He's got plenty of health. I mean, if I let this go down, I don't think it's the... I mean, his Exeggutor kind of clicks buttons. Yeah, I'm going to go with Lycanroc on this turn. And it may be a little hasty. It's definitely probably a little hasty, but it means that I should be able to get some damage off. Goes for Roost. Okay. And I'm going to go for Stone Edge on this turn. He shouldn't be able to knock me out. If he is Impish EQ. Shouldn't be able to knock me out. And Stone Edge is going to do a good amount of damage. If we hit, we do hit. Expecting the Earthquake here. Yeah, it's the EQ. If he has a lot of investment, then he does knock me out here. And from that range... Ooh, that's close. I can go for a Drill Run. Yeah, I'm going to go for a Drill Run. Because it's more accurate, and it should knock out. Okay, we hit. This should knock out the Mew. As it does. We do have still one hit of Life Orb. But at this point, it doesn't necessarily matter. I'm just hoping that we didn't need that health, effectively. So do we end up in the same situation between Weavile and... There's the Weavile. Yeah, at this point I just... do I just go hard Fini? I think I can just Accel Rock. I'm just going to Accel Rock. He's probably going to Ice Shard. Strong chance he Ice Shards, but he hasn't maybe got Ice Shard. That's going to do a lot of damage. That's very good damage, in fact. If only we had E-Speed. And we don't know what item this has got. So I think I've got to go into this. Got to go into this, and then I think my play is always to double. But I think he probably knows that's always my play. I think he knows that's always my play. So I'm going to Sleep Talk. You guys Exeggutor? Yeah, I like I've said, I think he knew that was his play. Is he Life Orb? He is Life Orb, so he dies. Whew, and we should be able to beat Exeggutor with Skitter Smack. Should be able to take out Exeggutor with Skitter Smack. We don't know it's set, but we should be able to take it out. Get Toxic. So he was Life Orb, we made the right play there. Now, we could have preserved health, by all means, we could have. But his way of taking me out here is to Woodhammer, so I'm kind of happy. I've got to let Tapu Fini go down. I'm going to go for a Scold, get some damage. It's very negligible damage, but it's damage nonetheless. He's going to Woodhammer, so he's going to weaken himself. And we should pick up this game with Zygarde with Skitter Smack, which this game has been an absolutely crazy, absolute hell of a game. As to be expected from Vepsis. He is, yeah, basically dead at this point. Does he die to the Toxic? Just barely lives. And I'm just going to click 1,000 Arrows because I don't want to miss a Skitter Smack and lose this game. Click 1,000 Arrows and just win. But GG to my opponent. Hell of a game. Absolute hell of a game. I keep saying it, but this took a lot of thought. We had 21 seconds left on the clock. We are going to pick up this kill with 1,000 Arrows, and we are going to pick up the 1-0 win, putting us to 6-2. Was it plus 14 we're up to? So, yeah, that was a fantastic game. I really enjoyed that. We made some very ballsy moves, some very weird moves that probably didn't make much sense. But in my head, it made sense, okay? In my head, they made sense. Make sure to go and show my opponent some love for that kind of game. Make sure to check out his side, because I'm sure he has a fantastic thought process over the moves that he made. And yeah, we pick up the 1-0 win against a very, very good coach. And if you did enjoy that battle, which you absolutely should have, then please do leave a like, subscribe for more Draft League content. Until the next one, have a great day, guys. Peace.